Hello friends, good morning and welcome. I hope you remember what we learned yesterday. And yesterday we were talking about a great tragedy that took place in the history of India. In 1943, there was a great famine in West Bengal and 30 lakhs of people died due to lack of food security, due to lack of famine and so on. So we can see, take page number 43, you can see some pictures there. It is describing how serious was the condition in famine. So you can see a family looks like a skeleton. That shows that they have been starving for so many days, and that's why they all look very unhealthy. And they are coming to the relief center. Government is arranging a relief center, so they are planning to come and stay there. So the whole family come there, all look very miserable. And another family that is affected, and they are leaving their village and going away due to drought. They cannot cultivate anything there, no is staying there, nothing to eat. Therefore they are leaving their village and searching for a new village. So we have not experienced such a terrific situation in our life. So by looking at these pictures we can understand what kind of terrific life that they lived and how 30 lakhs of people died due to starvation without food and so on. So that was a real tragedy before India got independence that took place in the Bengal. So those days India, Bangladesh, everything was together, and so that entire area got affected and so many people died. Now let's take page number 44. Let's continue with that same topic. So nothing like the Bengal famine has happened in India again. So after the independence of India, so far such kind of serious situation did not arise in India. There was no more that kind of serious famines anymore. But it is disturbing to note that even today there are places like Kalahandi and Kashipur in Odisha where famine-like conditions have been existing for many years and where some starvation deaths have also been reported. So we did not experience such a severe famine in our country after independence, but there are reports like in Orissa, state of Orissa, there are some places like Kalahandi, Kashipur and so on. There are some people are dying, not in large numbers, but some people are dying out of starvation. So that is a real concern for us, that in our country some people have got plenty to eat and other people have less to eat or nothing to eat, they are dying. So that is a real situation, a real difficult thing for us to keep it up. We cannot just keep quiet when our friends are dying, when our citizens are dying out of hunger. So government will have to do something for those people. And starvation deaths are also reported from Baran district of Rajasthan, Palamau district of Jharkhand, and many other remote areas during the recent years. Therefore, food security is needed in a country to ensure food at all times. So not only here, not only in the Odisha, this kind of food death is reported, but some places like Jharkhand, some places in Rajasthan also this kind of starvation deaths are reported. So that is all a very dangerous situation for us, an alarming situation for us. So the government will have to take some extra care in order to provide this food security for the people. Now let's see who are the people having food secure, or who are the people whom we can say food secure. We need to analyze and see which person can be said that he is secure, he is food secure and so on. Although a large section of people suffer from food and nutrition insecurity in India, the worst affected groups are landless people with little or no land to depend upon. Traditional artisans, providers of traditional services, petty self-employed workers, and destitutes including beggars. So who are the people affected by food security, food insecurity, you can underline. So the worst affected groups are landless people with little or no land to depend upon. So landless people, landless farmers, then traditional artisans, those who are doing this traditional artistic works, then providers of traditional services, people who are working with providing traditional services, and they may not get every time work, so they are affected very much. Then petty self-employed workers, small self-employed workers, people who are repairing shoes, people who are stitching clothes, that kind of small, those who are doing small works. Then destitutes including beggars. Destitute means orphan, people who are no one to take care and so on. Abandoned people like beggars and so on. They have no one to take care, and these people are affected very often. And in the urban areas, the food insecure families are those whose working members are generally employed in ill-paid occupations and casual labor markets. So, in the urban areas, in the town areas, there also will find people who are suffering from lack of food. Who are those people? They are families are those whose working members are generally employed in ill-paid occupations. So some of the members of the family, they are employed, they are working, but they are ill-paid. That means their payment is very low, salary is very low. They are not able to manage. In a day they may be getting 50 rupees, 60 rupees, and that is very low and not sufficient for managing the needs of the entire family. So that kind of people, those who are in the town, though they are employed, their money is very less. Then also the casual laborers in the market. In the market there are so many people are there carrying things from one place to another, from one shop to another, from one vehicle to another shop, or from shop to vehicle. So people who are doing this labor work in the market, they also may not get work always. If they get work, they will have money to buy food. If they don't get work, then they have no money to buy food. They will not be able to eat food, so they will be starving. So then these workers are largely engaged in seasonal activities and are paid very low wages that just ensure their survival. So these people, they are working in seasonal activities. So those who are employed in the shops or other places in the town, they don't have work throughout the year. They are working only in certain season. When the work is available only, they are called for work. When there is no work available, they have no work to eat, and they have starving that day. So because of that, they are affected by this starvation. So let us, in order to convince our understanding, let us see the example of two people. The first one is the story of Ramu. Let's see how Ramu is affected by the starvation or by lack of money and so on. So Ramu works as a casual laborer in agriculture in Raipur village. And his eldest son Somu, who is 10 years old, also works as a pali to look after the cattle of the sarpanch of the village, Satpal Singh. So the man is working as an agricultural laborer, casual laborer. He has no land of his own. He is working in others' land. Then his son, who is a 10-year-old, you can imagine, 10-year-old boy, he is not able to go to school because of the lack of money, and they are poor. Therefore, he is also doing some work. What is his work? He is looking after cattle in that village, the sarpanch or the chief of the village. He has got plenty of cows, and this boy is in charge. He is looking after the cows. Then Somu is employed for the whole year by sarpanch and is paid the sum of 1,000 for this work. So he is employed for the whole year there, and at the end of the year he is paid 1,000 rupees. So you can imagine 1 year, that is 12 months working, and the money that he gets is 1,000 rupees. That means in a month he is not even getting getting 100 rupees, less than 100 rupees. So very low wage. He is working whole year and he is getting very low wage. So he is suffering. Ramu has 3 more sons and 2 daughters, but they are too young to work in the field. So the eldest son is only 10 years old, and below him he has got 3 sons and 2 more daughters, but they are too young. They cannot go out and work. They are too weak. And his wife Sunhari is also a part-time working as house cleaner for the livestock. So his wife also is working. What she is doing? She is working as house cleaner for the livestock. That means removing, cleaning the cow shed and so on, washing the cows, cleaning the cow shed, all that. So that she also is working for Sarpanch, because he has got plenty of cows and so she has to work. So the entire family is working for the Sarpanch and he is paying very little money to them. Then what she has to do? She has to remove and manage the cow dung, and she gets half-liter milk and some cooked food along the vegetables for her daily work. And so she is doing every day, coming and working this, maybe morning and evening, and she is not paid any money, but she will be given half-liter milk. So Sarpanch has got so much of cows and he is not even giving 1 liter milk, only just half-liter milk and some vegetables and some cooked food. The food that may be extra in his house, he may be giving to her and so on. So he is really exploiting them, not giving them sufficient wage, but making them do work and giving them very little pay. Then besides, she also works in a field along with her husband in the busy season and supplements his earnings. So when there is a busy season, the harvest season, weeding season, planting season and so, she also will go and work in Sarpanch field in the season. And agriculture, being a seasonal activity, employs Ramu only during times of sowing, transplanting and harvesting. So he is working in the field, the agriculture field. Therefore agriculture, we know it is a seasonal activity. Throughout the year there is no work in the field. Only at the time of planting, weeding, transplanting, harvesting, only that 3-4 months time the harvesting will take place, and only that time, till that time only the work is available. And so other rest of the time he has no much work. So what will he do? He may not get more money anymore. Then he remains unemployed for about 4 months during the period of plant consolidation and maturing in a year. And he looks for work in other activities. Sometimes he gets employment in bricklaying or in construction activities in the village. By all his efforts, Ramu is able to earn enough either in cash or kind for him to buy essentials for 2 square meals for his family. So this man, he tries to, wherever work is available, he is ready to go and work. In the brick field, he will go and work to make bricks. Or if there is some construction work in the village, he will go and work there. So somehow he will work and he will try to get sufficient money to buy just 2 square meals a day. He cannot afford to buy more food or better food, but just minimum food, minimum things he will buy in order to satisfy the hunger of all his family members. And however, during the days when he is unable to get some work, he and his family really face difficulties, and sometimes his small kids have to sleep without food. So it's a very miserable situation that when he has money, he will be able to buy some food for his family. But sometimes he has no job, no work, therefore he has no money in his hand, and therefore his small children have to sleep without eating any food. So they will be hungry and maybe crying and sleeping. And milk and vegetables are not a regular part of his meals in the family. And Ramu is food insecure during 4 months when he remains unemployed because of the seasonal nature of agriculture work. So we see the case of Ramu, the story of Ramu in the rural area, how he is suffering. Though he is working, he is not getting enough money to save for the future. So 4 months in a year he is not having any work at all. So during these 4 months, sometime he will get work in the bricks factory or in the construction of a house and so on. But if he does not get work, then 4 months time his family is struggling. His family members don't have enough food to eat and so they are really struggling those days. So we can say Ramu is in food insecure. He does not have food security because he does not have enough money to buy the food. So food may be available, but it may be accessible, but it is not affordable. He is not able to afford to buy. He does not have enough money to buy. So if his salary is increased, the sarpanch or the village chief is giving him more money, then he can save that money and keep, and when he has no work, he can use that money to buy food for him. So but unfortunately he is paid very low, therefore he is struggling to survive. Now let's see the story of another person, the story of Ahmad. So Ahmad is a rickshaw puller in Bangalore. So it is in Bangalore city and he is working there. He is a rickshaw puller. And he has shifted from Jamuri, Thalia along with his 3 brothers, 2 sisters and all parents. So he has shifted from another place called Jamuri, Thalia, and he has come to Bangalore, and he is not alone. Along with his 3 brothers and 2 sisters, all parents. So total how many members? 3 brothers, 2 sisters and 5 already. Then he himself, 6. Then all parents, then 2, 8. So 8 members are there, and the work that he does is pulling rickshaw. He stays in Juggi. The survival of all members of this family depends on his daily earnings from pulling rickshaw. However, he does not have a secured employment and his earnings fluctuate every day. So he does not have a proper earning. Sometimes people will hire his rickshaw, sometimes he may not get the customers, therefore his incomes are not steady every year, every day. One day he may get more money, one day he may get very less, one day he may not get at all. So that way his income is not steady, it is fluctuating. It is sometimes more, sometimes less and so on. So during some days he gets enough earning for him to save some amount after buying all his day-to-day necessities. So sometimes he gets more customers and he is able to get more money. After buying all the necessary things, he may be able to save some money. Then, however, fortunately, Ahmad has a yellow card, which is PDS card for below poverty line people. And with this card, Ahmad gets sufficient quantity of wheat, rice, sugar and kerosene oil for his daily use. So he is having a card. People living in the town, they have more access. So government issues a yellow card that is for getting supply from PDS, public distribution system. So those who are having this card, they are identified as poor people, and showing this card he will be able to get wheat, rice, kerosene oil, sugar, all that for a low rate. So to buy from other shops he cannot afford because it is too costly. So if he goes to this PDS shop, then he will be able to get it cheaper rate and he will be able to survive. So because of that PDS card, he is able to somehow manage his family. He gets these essentials at half of the market price. So the PDS shop, he need to pay only half price. To buy from outside shop means he has to pay the double. Then he purchases his monthly stock during a particular day when the ration shop is open for below poverty people. And in this way, Ahmad is able to eke out his survival with less than sufficient earnings for his big family, where he is the only earning member. So here the situation of Ahmad also would have been same as that of Ramu, but since Ahmad has got this PDS card, yellow card, and he is able to get these things at a cheaper rate, he is able to somehow manage his family. There is no starving there. In the case of Rama, we saw sometimes the small children have to go and sleep without eating anything. There is nothing to eat for them. So, but in the case of Ahmad, it is not there. Thanks to that PDS card which government has applied to the poor people, and he is given benefit of that. He is getting things at a half rate. That way he is able to manage. Then the social composition along with the inability to buy food also plays a role in food insecurity. So sometimes the society is composed in such a way that people are unable to buy food. That also is creating problems. For example, the SCs, the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, and some sections of the OBCs, that is lower castes among them, who have either poor land base or very low land productivity, are prone to food insecurity. So people who belong to the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe and OBCs, other backward castes like lower caste and so on, they may have very little land for them to cultivate, or the land that they have may be having very poor quality, not able to produce much. So they also may suffer from this food insecurity. Then what happens? So the poor people affected by natural disasters who have to migrate to other areas in search of work are also among the most food insecure people. So we saw in the case of that Bengal, when there was famine, people leaving their village and going to refugee camp, or people searching for another place in another village. So when they go to a new place, because their place is affected by flood maybe, or drought maybe, or natural disaster like earthquake maybe, when they go to a new place, they have no place to live there. They may have to stay in the rent house. They have no land for cultivation. Nothing is there. So that people are also depending on the availability of work. The new place, if they get work to do, then they may have some work money. If they don't get work, then the entire family is suffering. They will be suffering from food insecurity. Then a high incidence of malnutrition prevails among women. The women are also affected very much when there is poverty and they do not get enough food, good food or nutritious food they do not get. They become malnutrition. And this is a matter of serious concern as it puts even the unborn baby at the risk of malnutrition. So if the mother is not able to eat good food, then the child that she will be bearing, that child in her womb, that child also will be born unhealthy. If the mother is healthy, then child also will be healthy. So in order to have a good population or a good child, the mother also should be healthy. Then a large proportion of pregnant and nursing mothers and children under the age of 5 years constitute an important segment of food insecure population. You can underline that sentence. Who are the people having food insecure problems? Who are they? A large proportion of pregnant women and nursing mothers. Nursing mothers means mothers who are small babies, feeding milk. And so the pregnant women and the nursing women or nursing mothers and the children under the 5 years of age. So these small children, they also need good food at the beginning, and if the parents are very poor, they are not able to provide, therefore those children also will suffer from food insecurity. So who are those people suffering from food insecurity? That is the pregnant women, the nursing mothers and the children below 5 years. According to the National Health and Family Survey, in 1998 to 99, the number of such women and children is approximately 11 crore. So it is very frightening that in the year 1999, that just 20 years ago that survey was done. So 20 years ago, there were so many people, women and children, who were suffering from food insecurity. Not one or two people, but 11 crore people were there. So in Bengal, when there was famine, how many people died? 30 lakhs people died. Here 11 crore people are there, including women and children. So they are all living, struggling and living. They don't have enough food or good food to eat. Then the food insecure people are disproportionately large in some regions of the country, such as economically backward states with high incidence of poverty, tribal and remote areas, regions more prone to natural disasters, etc. So in our country, there are many places or many areas or many states where the poor people are living and they are all prone to this food insecurity. Which are the places? Economically backward states, the states that are very poor. They don't have any industry, they don't have any factories to provide jobs for the people, and so in such areas the people will be suffering. Then tribal areas and remote areas where there will be no source of income for them, they also may suffer. Then regions more prone to natural disasters, some places always get floods or drought or earthquakes and so on. So such people who are living in such places also, always their crops will be affected, their cultivation will be affected, and they will be suffering from lack of food security. Then in fact, the states of Uttar Pradesh, that is eastern and southern parts, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, parts of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra account for largest number of food insecure people in the country. So which are the states where we will find poor people living and not having enough food to eat? People living in Uttar Pradesh, especially in the eastern and the southeastern parts of Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is a big state and people who are living in east and southeastern parts. Then in people in Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh and some parts of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. These are the places where people are suffering food insecurity. These are places very often affected by the drought, or when during the rainy season there may be flood and so on. So very often these people are affected and their food security is affected. Very often they have to go starving. Then hunger is another aspect indicating food security. So another aspect that is indicating food security is insecurity is hunger. People who are going hunger, we cannot say they have got enough food. If they have food, then they will not be hungry. So people who are living in hungry, they are food insecure. Those who are in hunger. And hunger is not just an expression of poverty, it brings about poverty. The attainment of food security therefore involves eliminating current hunger and reducing the risks of future hunger. So hunger is an identification that people are living food insecure life. So government has to take steps to eliminate hunger from the lives of the people by providing food to them. And if that food is provided, and if government can make sure nobody is going hunger, nobody is sleeping hungry, and all have got enough to eat food at least 2 times a day, then we can say that there will be less risk in the future, that people dying of hunger, people dying of starvation will be less in the future. And hunger has chronic and seasonal dimensions. And chronic hunger is consequence of diets persistently inadequate in terms of quantity. So we can say 2 types of hungers are there. We can underline. What are the 2 types of hungers? One is chronic hunger and another one is seasonal hunger. So chronic hunger means always they are hungry. They may be eating some food, but that is not sufficient food, or it is not nutritious food, just eating some boiled leaves, this and that. They may be eating something, but throughout the year they will be eating this food that is not sufficient for them, the food that has no nutrition and so on. So they will be eating very less quantity, or they will be eating food without proper diet, proper vitamins and so on. They will be suffering throughout the year. Chronic means always, throughout the year they will be suffering from hunger. Then poor people suffer from chronic hunger because of their very low income and in turn inability to buy food even for survival. So these poor people, they don't have enough money to eat, buy food. Therefore with the little money that they have, they will be buying very little food and eating little food, and throughout the year they will be sickly, unhealthy and so on. That is called chronic hunger. Throughout, it is always they are hungry. Then seasonal hunger is related to cycles of food growing and harvesting, and this is prevalent in rural areas because of the seasonal nature of agriculture activities, and in urban areas because of casual labors. So the seasonal hunger means they will not be hungry throughout the year. Certain seasons of the year they will have sufficient money. When the harvesting season is there and the work is there, they are able to work and get some money, and they will have sufficient food to eat. But when they don't have work after the harvest season, they have no more work in the field, agriculture field, and so they will be starving. So certain season they will be getting hunger, they will be experiencing hunger, and they will be having no money to eat food. So that is called seasonal hunger. So this seasonal hunger is mostly affected by farmers who are living in the interior villages, in the rural areas, and also people who are living in the town, doing casual works and so on. They may not have work always. Throughout the year they may not get work to do. Those who are doing casual work, maybe constructing buildings, always they are not making building, especially during rainy season, and so they may not be doing much work. Cutting roads may not be possible during the rainy season and so on. So when there is work, they have enough food to eat. When they have no work, they will be starving. That's called seasonal hunger. So from the name itself, we can make out the difference. Seasonal means they are experiencing hunger in a certain season. Chronic hunger means they are experiencing throughout the year. That means they are very poor, and throughout the year they have no enough money to buy food and so on. Then there is a less work for casual construction labor during the rainy season, and this type of hunger exists when a person is unable to get work for the entire year. So when throughout the year, when a person does not have enough money or enough work to do, he will not be getting salary, he will not be getting wages, and therefore he will be continue to suffer from this lack of work and lack of money, and the entire family will be suffering from a lack of food and so on. So that is the problem the people are facing. So we shall wind up today, and we'll continue in the next class again the problem that people of India are facing due to lack of food, and how many are dying out of starvation, how many people are malnutrition, how many people are ill health and so on. Shall continue in the next class. So have a nice day. Bye.